Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I am Casey Willis, and this is Prequel Origin Stories and Inflection Points, a podcast by Goodie Nation. I am a 2023 Storytelling Fellow with Goodie Nation this year, and I am representing Goodie today. Of course, Goodie is an organization that helps to bridge the relationship gaps for diverse founders, founders in the social entrepreneurship space, really anyone who needs extra support in building those relationships that can help with sustainable businesses, help with gaining revenue and connections. We are here to eliminate those barriers for those amazing founders. Another important sort of auxiliary program that Goodie Nation does, of course, is their fellowship program. Now, the Goodie Nation fellows come from a wide array of backgrounds all over the country, different life experiences, and we are able to expand our networks, expand our skill sets, and to learn from one another while we're interfacing with some of the most amazing founders and entrepreneurs from all over the country and all over the world, really. And so this is a very special edition of Prequel because we are chatting with some of those fellows. And today we will be hearing from Isaiah Deporto-Plick, who is a new Goodie Nation fellow this year. And we're super excited to learn more. So, Isaiah, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hi, Casey. Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm excited. As you mentioned, I'm Isaiah Deporto-Plick, co-founder of Forest Ventures. We invest in underrepresented founders at the earliest stages of their companies. Um, have done a number of things in the startup world, based out in LA. Casey, did you want me to go into my full background or just do a quick intro?
That sounds great. Go for it.
Full background. So I'm a Black, Native American, German, Portuguese, Mexican, male. I'm also disabled. I've had cerebral palsy since I was born. Grew up in Moreno Valley, California, just outside of Riverside. My mom's a single mom most of her life. My dad was an alcoholic. Um, I often say, and I don't say this enough, my mom is my superhero. Without her, I would not be a fraction of the man that I am today. Um, in terms of venture and getting to where we are, if you would have told me, 10 years ago that this is how my career would have played out, I would have said, no way, not even close. I've wanted to be a lawyer since I was 10. And I really wanted to be a lawyer for a couple of reasons. The first was I was really good at arguing, and I strongly believe that all lawyers do is argue. And so I was like, oh, that works. And then two, I really saw the law as a tool to change and to really help people. So I went down that path. Was fortunate to get into Stanford for law school, and then I got to Stanford, and I started going through my first semester of classes, and I realized that, oh, litigation, like I went in thinking, oh, I'm going to be a public interest lawyer. I'm going to fight the good fight. I'm going to be a litigator. And I quickly realized, oh, this isn't for me. This doesn't suit my personality type. Um, how what am I going to do? And so that's when I heard about this thing, transactional law, contract, being a contract lawyer. And one of the big problems for me with going down that path was, okay, that's more business focused, and how do I actually do what I've always wanted to do, and that's help people. One of my favorite movies, to this day, and growing up, I saw it as a kid, was Pay It Forward. Kevin Spacey, and then the can't remember the kid's name, but he's in it's his Sixth Sense too. The I See Dead People kid. I can't remember the actor's name right now. But it was about not paying it back, to people that give you things, but paying it forward, to people that help you out. And so that's kind of how I live my life. Um, and so I went down this transactional law path, and after graduation, I was supposed to start in San Francisco at a Moblin and Myers, and I actually asked them to move if I could transfer back to Newport Beach. My grandmother, who practically raised me, was in the end stages of Alzheimer's and dementia, and so I just needed to be closer to the family, and they were still out in Riverside, and so Newport Beach was super close. And fortunately, there was a partner there that was doing venture deals for investors on the investor side, and he needed junior associates, and so it was me and him on these deals, and I fell in love with venture, but wanted to get deeper, wanted to represent startups, wanted to really like bridge that gap for startup founders, and so ultimately moved to Seattle, where I spent the next 5 years, started my career at Fenwick, got to represent startup founders, got a ton of experience, really got to dive deep into M&A, do some IPO work, but really got to work with startup founders every single day. Um, but I kind of just me being who I am, I happen to love when I like find a passion for things. I go deep. I go deeper than like most people. It's kind of insane how deep I go, and really wanted to join my own startup journey. So had the fortunate ability to join AngelList, where I joined their fund admin team 7 months into the business as employee number 9, and we built that business out. I was originally a venture transaction manager, but given early stage startups, you wear many different hats. AngelList as a whole was sub 25 people when I joined. And then ultimately culminated with helping them launch rolling funds and being a core member of that team where we scaled the rolling funds product from customer 1 to 125. Then while I was at AngelList, that's when I started First Ventures with Sebastian and then later Nicole. Got to write 5 checks in amazing portfolio companies. Got to learn how to be investors at a super small scale. Also did and still do a lot of angel investing. And then after AngelList, went over to Silicon Valley Bank, where I worked for the Access to Innovation team, which is all about bringing more Black and or Latino, not just Mexican, Latino founders and women founders, funders, um, investors, well, funders, talent and operators, and as well as board members into the innovation economy. So I worked on the funder piece, built partnerships with Latinx VC, Black VC, the Black Venture Capital Consortium, HBCU VC, and really got to build relationships with all the great people that work there. And after that, went to Microsoft for a short stint where I learned a lot about API integrations and the cybersecurity business development team and how to partner with Microsoft before ultimately ending up at Carta, where I worked on the law firm business development team and helped them push out some new products that they had for lawyers and kind of built those products out and worked with the engineering and the product team to get those to market before going to most recently a generative AI startup. That was where I was employee number 6 and head of business development. That was really Chat GPT for ventures, this company called Dory. And based out of Atlanta, funny enough. The CEO and the team is mostly based out of Atlanta. And ultimately, as things go in startups, they just weren't, the product wasn't there for a full-time biz dev hire. And so ultimately, I had a mutual decision to get laid off. But it was a mutual decision where I was laid off. And so I'm looking for my next gig, but continuing to work with founders and help founders build amazing businesses in the meantime.
Amazing. Like, this is why we do these origin stories, right? We're so used to, we love wins. Like, we love the big wins where it's like, look at like the big thing that everybody did. It's like in the paper, they were on this talk show, whatever. But it's hearing those journeys that I think connects in future founders, people who are in the grind. I mean, you said things that connect with me. My father has Alzheimer's. I know what it's like to connect with, family while you're still trying to build and, trying to work. Even the fact that you named Pay It Forward as a part of your origin story, the films we watch, the books we read, is all a part of these journeys. And I think so many
Yeah,
people will be able to relate to that. So thank you.
of
Um,
course.
like I mean, like so many things that could possibly follow up on. I'll have to pick your brain about generative AI land
Yeah,
at some point, since that's all everybody's talking about. But
yeah,
my question for you, you've had this amazing journey already, and now you are here as a fellow at Goodie Nation, in addition to all the other things that you're doing. And so I'm curious to know what brought you here and what are some of your goals or dreams or things that you want to do as a part of the Goodie Nation Fellowship.
yeah. For me, I mean, what drew me, other than like what I think what Goody and Joey's built has been amazing. I think for me, it's about helping underrepresented founders, diverse founders build amazing businesses. Like the reality is, like unfortunately, we don't have the resources often that our non-diverse counterparts have, right? Like tech is traditionally closed off. We don't have friends and family that could write $1 million checks. And so for me, it's about how can I be a connector? How can I use my experience, the knowledge that I've gained, and like hand that over to the startups that, come from these amazing programs, Google for Startups, other startups that come in. Um, in an ideal world, I'd just be able to just take my knowledge and transfer it to the founders and just say, here you go, like here's all of it. But in the absence of technology being able to do that, for me, that at the end of the day, like the goals for the program is just to have a measurable impact on founders. Like the way I measure my life, and I often think about this, like if I were to die tomorrow, is did I impact, did I have a meaningful impact on one person's life? It's not 100, it's not 200. For me, it's, did I measurably, like meaningfully impact one person's life? And that's kind of my yardstick every day. And that number continues to grow, and it's been more than one person, but I that's like my North Star, and has been my North Star for as long as I can remember.
Amazing. It's a very similar vibe with many of the founders and the mentors. Everyone really just seems to want to have an impact in whatever way that they can. And collectively, with Goodie Nation, I mean, the impact is being felt all
Yes.
over the country. So
Yep.
yes, like-minded folks can
That's
do some
facts.
amazing things. Yes.
Yep.
So Isaiah, you have taken the time to share your origin story. You're telling us about you and about the things that you do. But while you have this audience, while we have folks that are going to be listening, tuning in, you can share this out with people. What is it that you need? What is it that you want people to do? Do you want them to go find you somewhere, start a conversation? What ask do you have for our listeners today?
Yeah, for me, it's look, I love to coach and mentor and advise startup founders wherever I can. So reach out if you need help. Something, a lot of founders, they'll reach out when they need funding, or that line, and like that's cool and great, but you can't fund every startup in the world. I wish I could, but reach out if you need measurable help, if you need advice, if you need to vent. A lot of times, being a founder is a lonely journey. Like sometimes you just need someone to vent to. And I've been on calls with startup founders where it's just a venting session. I like to make people laugh whenever I can. So I will try to distract you with some jokes. But if you need help building your business, you need anything that I could potentially help with, whether it's my background or someone in my network, reach out. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on the website forestadventures.com. LinkedIn, just search my name, reach out, and I'm happy to help and set up a Calendly. I think my Calendly link is on LinkedIn. I think I put it in my contact info. So I try to make it as easy as possible for people to reach out. Anybody.
Did anyone else in the audience notice that Isaiah's ask turned into an offer? The ask turned into, I ask you to come to me for help. That is the vibe. That is what helps to grow our communities. That is what helps to lay the groundwork and the paths for future founders, for current founders, for, as Isaiah put it, folks who need to vent. um, Again, entrepreneurship isn't just about raising funds and raising capital. It's about building those relationships and gaining those networks that you know are there for you holistically. And so I mean I thank you for offering
Oh,
yourself
yeah.
as an ask. That's like brilliant. So yes, this was absolutely amazing. Thank you all so much for joining us for another episode of Prequel Origin Stories and Inflection Points. Our ask for you today is, if you have heard Isaiah's story and are saying, like, you know what? I know a founder who should reach out to him. He sounds like someone that this person that I know should talk to. Or if you do research on the company and you're like, ooh, I know someone that Isaiah should talk to. Let me put him in contact with this person. All it takes is 1 minute, 10 minutes to send an email, send a DM. You have no idea what potential impact just taking one small step to support a founder, support a fellow, support a Goodie Nation staff member could do to help to change a life. So, our ask for you is, if you know folks that Isaiah should talk to, put them in contact with them. That is what we are here to do, to bridge those relationship gaps. So, once again, I am Casey Willis, Goodie Nation fellow. And as our founder, Joey Womack, always says, stay magnetic and outwork yesterday. Have a good one.